Alright, I think we'll start with the horn. That'll make a noise. That's fun, easy to test. Luckily I've got the original one here, the original bracket. It looks like the later ones have a different bracket, but you could bolt it on the other side. I think the printing and the frame remain the same, just looking at that one, but it goes on the opposite side, so you wouldn't be able to use the original decompression lever bracket with this later horn bracket. I mean, it's not hard to make a bracket and bolt a horn on, but just something I saw. Kind of interesting to see how the changes have gone through over the years. So it's hot, isn't here, middle of summer. So let's make a start. So amazingly, it looks like whoever's owned this has, I think they've probably stripped the whole thing down and rebuilt it, probably multiple times, because it came with so many different frames, and it seems that they've put anti-seize on all the bolts and Loctite on some of the bolts, which is makes it way nicer to work on. So our horn will just bolt straight back on there. How good. And I think our horn wiring probably go through there as well. We'll see how that works. I think that probably goes on there. All these, the routing of the cables is actually in the manual I've got. So I could look that up and it would show exactly which clamps and stuff are used on what cable. So yeah, it probably looks like it goes something like that. So I'm going to pop some jumper cables on these batteries, and I'm going to test if this horn works. Otherwise I'll change the horn out for a good one. So looks like we've got some lights on and the gauge. Try our horn. So not quite. See if our wiring's down the wrong way. So we could have a problem there. Maybe the horn is no good. Let's have a look. There are adjustment screws on the back of these horns. That front one is really loose, so maybe someone's been messing with it, because you can, by changing the tightness of them, you can change the sound. Another go. See what happens if I play with this. Oh yeah, someone's wound that right out. So getting better. There we go. So just by adjusting how tight this front bolt is and screw on the back, you can change the sound of the horn. Just changes the resonance of the diaphragm. Why this one has been messed with, I don't know. Maybe someone was going to clean it up and paint it and got sick of it. It only takes a little bit of adjustment to get it out. So I'll do a quarter of a turn and it makes nothing. Very nice. While I'm here, I might as well put a bit of Loctite on all these bolts. And I'm actually going to double check all this guy's other bolts, stuff like engine bolts, mount bolts. Make sure they're all done up tight, because I know the bike's been apart. It's been a project bike for a while, so you know, things don't always get put back together how they should. It could have just been bolted back together to get it rolling so I could take it away. You don't really want something falling off on your first ride or working itself loose. Cool. So these are the indicators I've ended up with. They're just some fairly cheap generic ones, but they do have an E mark on them and they're actually really bright, so that's pretty good. There's a set of longer ones and some shorter ones, so I think the longer ones will go on the front. Yeah, longer ones and shorter ones. I'll see which ones I want to put where. Probably the longer ones on the front. They've just got those bullet connectors which match the Suzuki factory loom there. Just charge their battery up. So I just plug these in, give them a wiggle round. I think you know, there might be a bit of corrosion in there, and we'll test them out. I had a look at the wiring here. That's our indicator wiring there and there. The new indicators I've got just plug straight in there, so that's great. I'll just have to make a little bracket to space them out a bit. And the indicators were working, flashing a bit fast because I don't have any on the front. I unwrapped the front ones here. I believe these are the wires for the indicators. There was some problem with these wires. I think maybe the ground is no good, because the indicator relay, flasher relay, was just going crazy, ticking like really fast, tick 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 tick, but no flashing. So I think there's something wrong with their wiring there. But the rear ones, both the rear ones work, so probably just need to tie the upper grounds in there somewhere. And then looking at the rest of the wiring, some of these must be for the kill switch and the brake light switch for the front. So I'll order a new switch for there and we'll be good. Won't we, Lola? Yeah? Go for a ride? So I just replaced that flasher relay with an LED style one, the solid state one. It might have been that relay was no good. There was a bit of corrosion on the plug. The lights were flashing when I had it set up to that car battery, just while on jumper cables. With that bike battery I wasn't getting anything, I was just getting one click. So he might be able to bring it back to life, but I just chucked that one in, have it on the shelf, and it looks like we're good. It's a nice rate of flashing there. The light on there works. So that's our indicators all good for the wiring. Do some brackets and stuff next. Cool, so we'll make a start on mounting these indicators now that we've checked the wiring's all good. It was just needing a new flasher relay. It seemed to get the front ones going as well. So up the front here there should be some brackets that mount off these bolts, I believe, and then the indicators come off those. So I had to dig around the scrap bin and see what little bits of steel I've got, and I found just some leftover brackets from doing some work in the house. They're zinc plated, you know, pretty sturdy. I think they're for mounting tabletops and stuff, so I just took some of those. I drilled the holes out. They're ones for to mount on the forks there. Drilled a bigger one out for the indicator bolt, and it looks like it's going to work pretty well. Comes out looking like that. So they don't flex too much. They might wiggle back and forward, but I tightened it down and it felt alright. So I think with a bit of Loctite on that little bolt on the top, it should be all good. So I'm going to go for these slightly shorter indicators up the front, longer ones on the back, and it should keep them roughly the same distance out from the center line of the bike, and should be good. It's tightened up, got some Loctite on there, keep it happy. Put a little bit of Loctite on this bolt. That's pretty good. I'm going to rotate it a little bit so it's horizontal. That screw it tightened down. Should be golden. And then just put that other indicator on the side. pretty good. Doesn't look like they're going to just wobble around. And I think if they get dropped, they'll pivot on that bolt instead of breaking, which is quite good. So just our cables, they're just long enough. I believe it was green was the right hand side. Okay. And these ones were just the black and white. Alright, let's try that. See if the battery's still any good. The right one working. Left one working. Dash is lighting up. That's good. The rear ones are working. They just need some brackets. So we'll do that next. Alright, I just made a couple of brackets up out of some aluminium strap. So these will just go on this rear fender mount bolt, and it spaces the indicators out enough that they should sit there quite happily. So same again, we'll just do some Loctite on the bolts. So that's our indicators all done now. Quite solidly mounted, they don't wobble around too much. They shouldn't vibrate loose or anything. Nice and bright. Turn that on. So I think that looks pretty good. Here's the back. Just got that one on the right a little bit higher up to clear the muffler. I might bring it back down, it's not too bad. The other things we did with the horn, so the horn still works. So that's good. Our indicator light up here and the dash works. I opened it up and there's never been a high beam light or a neutral indicator light in there. There's no bulb holders and this plastic is just opaque. So even if you put a bulb in there, you can't see through it. There's no coloured lens or anything, so I might need to cut the lens out and put a little bit in, or I'll take one off this later DR. I think that's roughly the same size, just to get that high beam light. I'm sure they'll want at the testing station. So still to do is the front brake switch. Need to tidy up that rear brake switch, give it a clean. I think it's a bit sticky. Need to do the tail light setup. That'll need a brake light, tail light, number plate light and a reflector. I always forget the number plate light and the reflector. I'm just looking at my options now, whether I get a tail light off another bike or I just sort of botch together a bunch of pieces to get it to work. But otherwise it's coming along nice. So we'll cut it there for this time and get back into it again later.